And fresh humiliation.
Alright, now I'm watching The Shroud of Turin. Now, contrary to popular beliefs, there are two crucifixions in history. One of Jesus and one of Peter, like I've been insinuating. So I was acting like it might have been Lazarus, but no, it was Peter. Right? Now, all four Gospels say Jesus was crucified through the hands. But if Peter was crucified upside down, would he not have to be crucified through the wrists to better hold up his body if he was in a perpendicular or a 180 degrees angle over Jesus? Yes. They don't want you to think of it that way, right? Peter is the person on the shroud. Jesus didn't have a shroud because he was wrapped in Jerusalem. Peter was buried in Rome, right? That's why you're confused by the two different accounts, right? Now, Peter was crucified the same as his Lord. Do you know why? Right. Because until his death, Peter and the rest of the 12 were declaring Jesus the Messiah and the true King of the world, right? Well, that's a slap in Nero's face, who was the one who crucified him, right? Upside down, right? Like his Lord, right? Now, Jesus told Peter in a vision, I go to Rome to be what? Crucified again, right? So y'all don't want to see it as being Peter, but that's more how a Jew would be buried in Rome, not Jerusalem, right? Still in the Jewish manner, don't get me wrong, right? Still with the crown of thorns, don't get me wrong. Still with the nails through the wrists, not the hands, because it was upside down.
But when we actually pause to look at the historical nature of the crucifixion and remember what the Romans were trying to do by humiliating and torturing people, then for a moment we really see it as something quite different, something appallingly painful and utterly humiliating.
And see, the thing is, some people are just so sure they're right, they're wrong. And the reason is they forget there were two different crucifixions. One in Rome and one in Jerusalem. One, but both in the first century, right?
Finally die of asphyxiation. It is finished.
Imagine your mother or your father or your best friend
now
to wood, hung out in the open sun and die.
Jesus also had a napkin wrapped around his head. Peter probably wouldn't have, right? That's another point too. In Jerusalem, they bury similar to the Egyptians. And he was bound head to foot and with a napkin, right? They're only telling you half the story from John, right? It's like, believe us or go to hell, right? Attitude. But it's not necessarily Jesus on the shroud, but Peter on the shroud. But if the radiation is still on the shroud, Peter too is what? Raised from the dead. Because of who? Jesus is saying, there be some here who shall not taste of death till all's fulfilled, right? Right. Well, whether Peter likes it or not, I'm part of that fulfillment, right? Because I'm telling you what Jesus told them 2,000 years ago, right? Through the Old Testament and now the New, right? Now,
we see clear areas which some have.
The same thing would happen with Peter if he was crucified upside down. He would also die of suffocation, but quicker than Jesus, probably within 3 hours. Now, they all knew Jesus was pierced through with the side, right? Except Peter's was done upside down. You see what I mean? Jesus went to be crucified again. Twice. But it was really Jesus first and then Peter. What happened to Jesus? He went in heaven. He went into heaven, right?
Jesus is resurrected.
But Peter stayed here, right? Until what? He repents. He repents of his own sin, right?
The only thing left
Not telling us the whole truth. Jesus told them, right?
used to cover his body.
Now the problem is, I don't know how long it'll take Jesus to return from me, because who's lying? The 11. The 11. Now Jesus didn't talk to them and teach it to Judas or anyone else, but the 11, right? So who's lying? The 11. The 11 are all lying. But why are they lying? Because if Peter's 5'10", he's a tall man, right? And if the rest of them are smaller in stature, maybe Peter bullied them into it, right? You know what I mean? John didn't write the book of Revelation until he was on Patmos, right? And I heard he was bold and old and several things like that before he went to Patmos, right? Shit like that, shit like that.
But there was
Well,
one part of
if you survive all that, and you know you didn't tell the truth about Jesus, you're the only male disciple in front of the cross, right?
Of the material.
And you don't mention his female breast, according to the word John used in Revelation, right? Switching from Stethos to Mastoles, right? Which he added the I on purpose from Luke, which was referring to a woman's, his mother's breast, which he suckled from, right? And they will say in the last days, blessed are the paps that never gave suck, right?
The possibility that
Well, that's because we're heading towards another fulfillment in the Bible, World War III, a nuclear war, right? See, God knows the end from the beginning because we keep repeating our patterns. And the reason we keep repeating our patterns is God, for the last 4.6 billion years, has been creating and recreating the earth God knows how many times, right? And we keep following the same pattern, Peter. You keep denying your Lord.
Hi, I'm Paul. I used
Believe
to
me or
ask
not,
if you hear me
believe me
now,
or
but
not.
I made the smart choice.
And it's your denial that's the worst denial that even Judas betrayed him, right? Because he didn't explain it to Judas. He did first Cleopas, and the other guy in the country, I think, is Eutychus. And then the 11, right? So really,
Think about what you can do with all that extra
13 people need, 13 people need. And, the 2 in the country, and then the 11, right?
Never underestimate the power of a little electricity. Introducing the new Panamera with Porsche E-Performance. A one-of-a-kind
Right,
version
right.
of two-color
All right.
thrill.
Hope this helps.